Nigerian authorities pledge to promote blood donation as many people struggle to access for blood in the country. Walinga's Alcalo vows to protect the country's electoral laws amidst concerns of the issuance of attestations. And online business is gaining momentum in Uganda despite the effects of COVID-19. Well, this and more coming ahead in News Desk. Hello there, this is Africa TV. Many thanks for joining us. I am Amadou Kante, and now the news in detail. Now, as the world celebrates World Blood Donor Day, Nigerian authorities have vowed to raise awareness of blood donation as part of efforts to overcome blood insufficiency in the West African state. Nigeria needs over 1 million units of blood for transfusion annually, but not even half of the needed blood is available, according to the health authorities. In 2020, the government launched a blood donation strategic plan, but the numbers still remain low. Here's more details of that in this report.
Let me flog you. Yeah, no, let's try. I'm collecting your details.
Japhet Ezekiel Michibi walks on crutches and calls himself a warrior of sickle cell disease. His condition requires a blood transfusion at least once a month. He says it's been traumatic accessing blood at the hospitals and almost cost him his life in his 20s.
So normally my elder brother, he's the one that matches my blood group. He's my donor, but as at this instance, he wasn't in town and there was no blood in the blood bank. But fortunately, we got a donor and I lived through that moment. But even after that, nothing major has changed. There's still difficulty accessing blood.
According to Nigeria's health ministry, up to 1.8 million units of blood is needed for transfusion every year, but only about 66,000 units are collected annually. The National Blood Transfusion Service says only 5% of total blood donations in the country are made by voluntary donors. The remaining 95% are commercially provided.
The religious beliefs, some don't collect, some don't receive. That's their belief and nothing changes it. We have people that are, their awareness is very low, because people say they don't see, and the radio stations will do it, but, it's not frequent. We need to make it frequent. That's it. And we have people that are afraid of needles, afraid of needle prick, they're afraid of it, they don't want to do it. There are cultural beliefs. People are afraid that they have blood going to be for rituals and so on. It's unfortunate, but that's the truth.
Experts at this blood drive to mark World Blood Donor Day say more awareness is necessary. They say the COVID-19 pandemic has made the situation worse. So, as well as TV, radio and social media promotion, they're also using on-site locations.
Nobody wants to leave his workplace where he's making money to feed his family, can't donate blood. When we come here, that issue is settled. We come donate blood and then face their business. So it solves a lot of things. That's why we're here. I believe that if we continue this way, by the time more people join the trend, the awareness increases, the donation increases, and then I believe the scale will be scaled up, but the gap will be closed. It may not be totally, but with time, little by little, we'll get there.
And the country may be on its way to achieving blood self-sufficiency.
Last year, the government launched a 10-year national blood transfusion strategic plan, which is targeted at reaching at least 1 million blood donors yearly from 2021 to 2030. It says this will improve the nation's safe blood reserve.
And that should mean people like Japhet can access blood more easily and many more lives can be saved.
Nigerian authorities there, who of course they vowed to tackle blood insufficiency in the country. Now, taxi drivers are blaming tumbling business on increasing incidents of crime, especially those related to traffic. Few among the lot have discouraged as commercial drivers to play foul games on every innocent passengers. Some of these cases have been addressed by the police with wide range of news circulation, resulting to the loss of public trust on taxi drivers. The CISE has more details of that in this report.
In the wake of concerns over safety for people hiring the services of taxi drivers, The Gambia police issued a notice to advise passengers to pay attention to vehicle registration numbers before boarding. According to the police via its social media handles, one must share such details of a taxi with family members or loved ones for safety concerns. Cases such as robbery, attempted rape and other forms of criminal operation have been reported of people in disguise of taxi drivers, resulting to this wake-up call. As a result, some of the taxi drivers are of the view that their business has been tainted with lack of trust, fear and all forms of difficulties.
Parce que sometimes da ngay gis client mu ñew duga xol la ba num la neex mu ne man wuluma taxi driver waaye man numay liggéey man.
Sometimes a client will enter your taxi and take a look at you properly. If you ask why, they will tell you, I don't trust taxi drivers now. For me, how I work is, anyone who comes and says, I don't trust you, I usually tell them to look properly, and if they are not satisfied, let them drop off. This is really a challenge for me as a taxi driver. In the Gambia, we all may be taxi drivers, but we are quite different.
Taxi driving is considered one of the lucrative ventures mainly by young people across the country. Vehicle owners make a living from the income they make of the traffic. But the rhythm appears to be changed as commercial drivers are being interpreted as troublemakers.
This has really deteriorated our work. The way the traffic was and now is different due to the fear people have towards taxi drivers. Sometimes clients will come and just look at your vehicle properly, take a photo of your vehicle, or even take a photo of you, the driver, which should not be done by right. And all this is because of the criminal act in the country. Yes, it's true that wherever you go, you will find criminals. But not everyone is a criminal. Those taxi drivers walking on the highway, every day, you cannot do anything bad because people will see you. And those committing these criminal acts are not always on the highway. Someone can park his private car and use a taxi to commit these crimes.
Relying on more than 30 years' experience in the field of driving, Seinu Fofana is of the view that the situation could be addressed if the police tighten the issue of driver's license.
Most of these boys driving don't have driving license. They borrow taxis and drive late at night. The police have a role to play by scrutinizing the kind of people they issue license to. And also drivers should make sure they register under a garage so that if anything happens, chief the garage will know which particular driver commits a particular act.
The police launched a joint operation known as Operation Zero Crime in May 2021. With the aim to curb crimes such as armed robbery, killings and theft across the length and breadth of the country. Gambians are of the view that despite the lack of other social and economic services, they cannot afford a lack of thorough security because peace is what makes the Gambia the smiling coast of Africa. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am DCC.
Taxi drivers in the Gambia seemingly losing the public trust amidst crimes related to their work. Now to North Africa we go, because Egypt and 4 other African countries have been given the green light to join the results index for emerging markets thanks to their improved economic performance amid the impact of the global health crisis. The North African country has proven its standard in the financial dealings and requirements that could provide opportunity for loan accessibility and other benefits within the international business community. Here's more details of that in this report.
The newly established FTSE Russell Index is seen by some as a guideline for investors in the emerging markets. Egypt, together with 4 other African nations, has been placed on the list based on its strong economic performance amid the crisis caused by the coronavirus pandemic.
There are many factors to be considered before getting listed in the index, but the main ones are transparency and the ability to fulfill obligations and loan repayments, which Egypt has proved to be trustworthy in. Countries always seek to be listed because it gives them easier access to bonds and treasury bills and at a lower cost and interest than other loan mechanisms. It's proof of strength and good reputation within the international business community.
The North African country has been on an international borrowing spree since 2016 to implement an aggressive economic reform plan, followed by measures to contain the economic downturn caused by the outbreak of the pandemic. Egypt's finance minister has said the FTSE Russell Index will enable Egypt to attract up to $4 billion of government bonds.
These bonds can be used to cover the public debt or pay interests and loans on Egypt. Part of it can be directed towards the reconstruction sector, which has witnessed fast growth as the government transforms the country into a regional trade and investments hub.
After the successful FTSE bonds listing, Cairo is now awaiting to be re-enlisted in the JP Morgan Index for emerging markets, which will enable it to be eligible for another $2 billion of bonds.
Now, from that business report in Egypt, let's do some electoral news now in the Gambia, because the Alcalá of Vélingara has, during the voter registration in his community, pledged to defend for the country's electoral laws to the latter. Speaking to Africa at one of the registration centers on Monday, Sehundur warned that the national voters card must not land onto the hands of ineligible people. Registration from village head, he said, is given in place of other national documents needed as proof of citizenship. Fatma Kasim has more of that in this report.
Village heads known as alcalos are empowered by the 1997 Constitution to attest the citizenship of people who wish to obtain the voter's card in every election. The work with some of them has been flagged with claims of wrongdoing, such as the charging of fee for the issuance of their testimonies of citizenship. Preliminary statements by the CSO's coalition and election in the Gambia on Wednesday featured confirm of this allegation. The alleged selling of attestation, according to the coalition, happened in places such as Bundum. In reaction to this allegation, the Alcalá of Vélingara disassociated himself from leaders of communities where the law is being compromised.
Well, it is not a right thing to be done. Certainly, we are here to work for the entire nation. If the Gambia is good, it's good for all of us. And if the country is bad, it's bad for all of us. We have, the elders of yesterday have set a very good example in this country. And that's why Gambia is well known and respected throughout the world. I see no reason why youth of today should have another attitude, which is absolutely wrong. Let us follow and make sure that we follow the rules of this country, the laws of this country, the Constitution, and then work according.
Meanwhile, the Independent Electoral Commission has so far issued 191,509 voters' cards, among which over 100,000 are female and more than 80,000 to male after 1 week of operation. Fatima B.C. Soho, one of the registrars for the voters' card, was encouraged with the turnout of the people of Vélingara in 2021 electoral process. She had attended training on voter registration, from where she learned the rule of the game and serving as community advocate in the drive towards free, fair and transparent elections. Age being one of the eligibility criteria for the acquisition of the national voters card, communities are more awakened following the exposure of centers attempting to register even those yet to attain the age of 18. Fatima is one of the registrars, wearing an eagle eye to ensure a smooth and transparent voter registration.
They were two. They came, but they were not up to age because during our training for the IEC, they told us you can be registered. That is, those who are going to be 18 on the day of election. That's not going to be on the 4th of election or before the day of election. But you should be 18 by the 4th of December. So for me, whoever is going to be 18, even if it's going to be on the 5th, I don't think I ask them to go there and not come because their age is not going to be 18 on that day. Even this morning I had one of them, and immediately I explained to them they do.
The agent for the United Democratic Party of the Vélingara Voter Issuing Center, Kalilu Seidi, reiterated the need to take caution in the process. He expressed UDP's commitment to leave no stone unturned in making sure that only the right candidates are issued with the voter's card.
bira start jam problème mo soto jam problème kili wala soto jam model be jawul mata patiyel lale wala patiyel male.
The only problem we have here is we saw non-Gambians being registered these 2 days, but we didn't have the power to stop it since our people are yet to arrive. We asked the returning officer to give us their details, but he refused, telling us to follow them to their houses. But we cannot do that. If not, we will cause commotion. That is why we want to go to the IEC for them to give us access to the information of the people who will be registered. In case we have doubt, we will do our own investigation.
The Election Act, as amended in 2001, provided that either a birth certificate, national identity card, passport, or an attestation from either village or district head must be presented for one to obtain the voter's card. For iAfrica News, I am Fatoumata Kasim.
Yes, Fatoumata Kasim reporting there on the issuance of the voter's card ahead of the December presidential election in the Gambia. Well, from that report there, we'll now take a break and come back shortly. Stay with us, there's more news coming ahead.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put into constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands, feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
Welcome back, and once again many thanks for joining us, and let's do some blood donation news again, this time in the Gambia though, because as health centers continue to cry for insufficient blood supply. The Gambia Armed Forces mobilized troops to various facilities in observance of the World Blood Donor Day. The day is set aside by the World Health Organization to raise global awareness of the need for safe blood and of the critical contribution of donors. Over 200 personnel of the Gambia Armed Forces decided to donate to the Kanifing General Hospital in order to save lives. Mariama Cham has more details of that in this report.
The Gambia Armed Forces blood donation drive took place in all major health centers and hospitals across the country. While the opening ceremony was observed at the Kanifing General Hospital with more than 200 soldiers as donors, similar exercises were ongoing in other facilities, including the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital in Banjul, Buyam in the West Coast, Farafenni in the North, and Basay in the Upper River regions. The intervention is designed to surmount instances of shortage of blood as a major challenge in the health delivery system, resulting in lives lost. Speaking ahead of the blood donation drive on Monday morning, Deputy Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces, Major General Mohamed Ocham, considered the blood donation as a norm to the Army. He underlined the humanitarian aspect of saving lives, especially at a time when the COVID-19 is posing additional complexities in health service delivery.
As part of this year's activities marking the day, the Gambia Armed Forces is joining the rest of the world to commemorate the day by donating blood to all government health facilities across the country. This patriotic and humanitarian gesture is aimed at complementing the efforts of the Ministry of Health, Social Welfare in ensuring adequate supply of blood to Gambians, particularly during these years of COVID-19 pandemic. Consequently, officers soldiers, and ratings of the Gambia Armed Forces in all military installations, from Banjul to Basse, would voluntarily donate blood to ensure individuals and communities have access to safe and quality blood and blood products in the normal and emergency situations they face.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Kanifing General Hospital, Keba Mane, emphasized the importance of blood donation in saving the lives of millions of patients across the globe. He thanked the Gambia Armed Forces for the regular and punctual response to the needs of health facilities in the country.
Safe blood and blood products and their safe transfusion forms an integral part of public health care service delivery. They save millions of lives and improve the health and quality of life of many patients daily around the world. The need for blood and blood products is universal, but access to safe blood and blood products for all those needing it is not. It varies greatly across and within countries, and blood shortage is acute in resource-constrained countries, including Gambia.
World Blood Donor Day is celebrated each year on June 14 to pay tribute to all unpaid voluntary donors for their gift while raising people's awareness on the importance of regular donations in order to secure high-quality blood and blood components for use in the healthcare system. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Mariama Cham.
The Gambian Forces donated blood to various government health facilities across the country in observance of the World Blood Donor Day. Now, many businesses around the world were brought to a standstill due to the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic, but not everyone was affected in Uganda thanks to the e-commerce service. The new initiative brought opportunity for business owners to continue their activities while creating job opportunities for others. Now, despite the progress made in the new business cycle, some analysts believe there are still challenges faced by online businesses in the country. Here's more of that in this report.
Joyce Kisachi looks up a new customer order on her phone. She's signed up to Jumia Foods, an e-commerce mobile platform, where she's able to sell her fruits and vegetables to both walk-in and online clients.
Some customers don't want to come to the market because they don't want to get stuck in traffic. Parking is also a problem, so the application is convenient for the trader and helps to keep your customer.
Joyce has been operating on the online platform for more than a year now. The COVID-19 pandemic has made e-commerce applications even more essential. During lockdown, strict guidelines like restrictions on transport forced many vendors to close their stalls. But many like Joyce, who signed up to e-commerce, were able to work online.
When the pandemic started, we only got a few walk-ins. People were scared of coming to the market to mix with crowds, so they started ordering whatever they needed online. And it worked for us, who installed the application.
The growth of e-commerce is partly attributed to a boom in e-payment solutions in recent years. The value of mobile money transactions has grown from $12.5 billion in 2016 to about $27 billion in 2020, according to figures from the Bank of Uganda. A partnership between the UN, e-commerce companies and government has also helped many vendors sign up.
We've seen vendors benefit tremendously. We have vendors who are earning $10 a day in revenue and in sales, but thanks to the partnership and selling their produce online, they're earning over $50 a day. So I believe that, of course, helped them as business owners sustain their businesses, save more, and again maintain their livelihood.
The platform has also created jobs and sustained livelihoods of thousands of riders who deliver the products on motorcycles. COVID-19 has given e-commerce in Uganda a huge boost, with a number of digital trade solutions on the rise to help people adapt to the new normal. This is also helping to open up the untapped potential of Uganda's online marketplace. But economic analysts argue that despite the growth in e-commerce, taxes on internet subscriptions are driving up online transaction costs.
One of the challenges that has been facing Africa and Uganda inclusive when it comes to penetrating online markets is the cost of internet.
affordability, availability.
In the current budget, Uganda plans to slap a 12% tax on the internet, but vendors like Joyce Kisache believe the taxes will have minimal impact on their businesses because they are hoping to pass on the cost to the consumer.
From that business report in Kampala, Uganda, we finally bring this news edition to an end. But for more details on this and other stories, as always, as ever, you can visit on our website on africa.tv. But for now, though, many thanks for the privilege of your company. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and bye for now.
Vaccine, vaccine, vaccine. The world get vaccinated.
Millions of people around the world don't get this vaccine here. Coronavirus is something we do. And as a race,